Washington was, in fact, a test for Ohio State on Saturday at Husky Stadium. Turns out they passed it with flying colors, undefeated still. The Buckeyes get their first road win, get their first Big Ten win. And that defense, it seems like it travels pretty well for the Buckeyes. 24-6 is the win over the Huskies. Welcome. It is a Monday. That means it is time for Zach Boren and a Boren Blitz as we dive deeper into that win for the Buckeyes. And it's impossible, Zach, to start anywhere other than with the Silver Bullets.
Yeah, I mean, the Silver Bullets were outstanding on Saturday. Holding Washington to 1 for 11 on third down. Demond Williams, everyone was talking about what he's able to do with his legs, with his arm, the dual threat of him, the three-headed monster that everyone was talking about with Williams, Coleman, the running back, and then Boston wide receiver. And the way Ohio State was able to put clamps on them, especially when they got down to the red zone or when their backs were up against the wall, was the next level. I mean, people are saying there should be a study done for the last 20 games of Ohio State's red zone defense and what they're able to do. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, when those guys get put into the corner, they make the big plays. It starts up front, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot on this show today about the two Kadens in the front four, but just in general, man, the defense, when you make plays like that, especially on third down, especially in the red zone, like all 11 dudes have to be on the same page, and they all got to be rallying to the football and playing at top level. And that's what those guys are doing.
I mean, it's this start, Zach. I don't know. Are you asking me to do that study for the last 20 games, or are you going to help me with that? Because it's insane what they're doing down there.
I mean, it's insane. It even goes back to like the Penn State game last year, right? I mean, it goes all the way back to that. And then you talk about everything through the playoff. I mean, even the Team Up North game last year, right? Like the Jack Sawyer interception, like there were still massive times when the defense, when they needed to make a play, they did. And then what they were able to do in the playoff and the national championship game. And then they come around, and even Texas week 1, and now going to Washington, where Washington hasn't lost a game in 22 or 23 home games, whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's next level. We could sit here and go through the X's and O's and write up everything and say, hey, some offensive play calls were questionable, but at the end of the day, like, as a defense, you have to make the play. All 11 guys have to be on the same page. All 11 guys have to do their job. And guess what? They're doing it, and they're beating their mans one-on-one. And, yeah, man, I mean, Matt Patricia, what he's able to do with this defense, we could go down the line. I mean, the way even Arvell Reese played and Sonny Styles played, I mean, even IGB yesterday, like Caleb Downs, like there's going to be a lot of times you leave that game or you get done watching that game and people aren't going to bring up a lot of those guys in the secondary. But, man, a lot of those dudes balled out in what they were able to do, especially when you're holding an offense like Washington, who I think was top 10 coming into the game on Saturday, holding them to 1 for 11 on third down, which I already said. And I think totals like 236, 246 total yards of offense. I mean, that is a massive showing for this defense.
And pretty importantly, 0 touchdowns. So I think there had been so much conversation, Zach. We had 2 weeks because of the off week to break down this matchup and talk about the ways that the Huskies were going to challenge Ohio State, and that we would find out a lot about Julian Sayin in a road environment, but that we would also see how legitimate this start was for Matt Patricia and the Ohio State defense because of the skill players that you mentioned and because of Demond Williams. And I think maybe the part that we overlooked or didn't mention enough was that Matt Patricia had 2 weeks to prepare for Demond Williams and Denzel Boston and Jonah Coleman. And they made plays. They moved it between the 20s. I think what you mentioned is really important. Once this Ohio State defense gets down in the red zone, they do not give up anything easily. And to be at this point of the season and to have given up now, 22 combined points in 4 games, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. You've given up 2 touchdowns in the span of 4 games, right? I mean, if you were to ask me through 4 games, if OU would have put up the most points against Ohio State, I would have told you you're crazy, right? but the way that they've played and the way that they're flying around to the football. And here's the other thing. I mean, this is a new defensive coordinator. Obviously, he's throwing in some new schematical stuff. He tried making a lot of things the same over the past couple of years in Jim Knowles, whether it be terminology, whether it be just things that they do. But at the end of the day, we're all watching the games. There are definitely some new schematical things that Matt Patricia is doing. And for those guys to not be thinking, Matt Patricia, make it simple, those guys flying around to the football, reading, reacting, like that goes a long way as well. We can all point to Happy Valley Saturday night, right? When the Penn State defense needed to make a big play, and I watched that entire game, you're like, come on, man, like what are they doing? And they couldn't make that play. And so you're able to see a new defense. They got the new defense coordinator. Ohio State's sitting here with a new defense coordinator, and they are flying to the football and making plays.
It's pretty incredible that Penn State thought they had this major coup at defensive coordinator landing Jim Knowles. And he was a great coach, and he won a national championship at Ohio State, and he had the top-ranked defense in the country a year ago. And somehow the Buckeyes were able to go out and actually improve at that position. What Matt Patricia has done through 4 games has so vastly exceeded my expectation. It's hard to fathom.
And yeah, correct. And my comment wasn't a knock on Jim Knowles. My comment is strictly that when you have a new coordinator, whether it be offense or defense, and they are implementing a new system, it takes a while for that to hit home. We saw it with Jim Knowles at Ohio State, right? I mean, last year they were firing all cylinders, and hats off to him for what he was able to do at Ohio State. My comment is 4 games into this season, and you see this defense that is on the same page, maybe more so than last year with missed assignments, right? They're very minimal. You see them flying around to the football, making plays. They're always in the right place at the right time. Like those things are kind of unfathomable, especially when you talk about college football, because in the NFL, guess what? So many of those coaches, same terminology, same defenses. Like there's a way bigger learning curve in college just because coaches can be so extreme from one to the other. So many coaches can be so extreme in terminology and what they want to do in certain situations. And the way this Ohio State defense is on the same page, the run lanes are perfect. The pass coverages, the different concepts of showing different looks and then getting into either a zone or man look and always being on the same page. I mean, that's next level stuff. And the only reason why I bring that up is because you saw bad run fits Saturday night in Happy Valley in Penn State when they need to make a play. There's like gashes open. It just looks like guys aren't sure where they're supposed to be. And you look at the Ohio State defense, you're like, oh my God. They're giving different looks. They're showing man coverage, all out blitz, and dropping into a cover 3 look, right? Like they're doing all kinds of different things, and that is so rare for a new coordinator when it comes to college football.
Did you want to take another victory lap for Kaden Curry right now, or did you want to just save that for 3 and out?
I mean, listen, we could do a whole show on Kaden Curry, and I'll make one comment from this. I've been kind of pounding my fist saying that this guy needed to play a lot more, even in the years leading up to this, right? I've said he is a tenacious dude that plays with heart, that has a nose for the football, that literally has a drive that does not stop until the whistle's blown. And it only took – I mean, he's been playing great all year, but it only took a couple games for him to be like out there every single play, for him to show the kind of player that he really can be. I think a couple weeks ago I made the comment that he's like John Simon, but even a twitchier John Simon from that standpoint. And what he did on Saturday to a quarterback that, let's be honest, probably easily the most elusive quarterback that Ohio State's going to play this year in the regular season, what he was able to do in the tackle for loss, in the sacks. And those guys aren't just pinning their ears back in a game like that on Saturday, right? You can't, because if you pin your ears back and go and get upfield or get in a wrong pass lane, right? Like the dude's stepping up and scrambling on you. So the way he was able to play under control and still come away with that stat line, absolutely unbelievable, man. He's a stud. He's going to be the leader of that D-line group as the year goes on. And I could not be more happier for him.
Yeah, phenomenal effort again there from Kaden Curry. Caden McDonald next to him also just, I mean, what are you going to get? 5 sacks from those guys in the rushman, just incredible effort. To flip it over, I did think that the noise, Zach, lived up to the billing. You were texting me early on Saturday, like, what's it like out here? And the tailgating was picking up. The noise was getting trapped under that overhang in the rafters there at Husky Stadium. I think they had it at like 120 decibel level at one point there in the first half. That was a lot for Julian Sayin to have to deal with in his first Big Ten start, his first road start. And I thought that, no surprise, he wasn't fazed by that at all.
Yeah, no, he played poised, played control, made the plays when he had to. And let's be honest, everyone wants to point at the first half, like, what were they doing? What were they doing? They should have easily scored on that first drive, right? 4th and 1, kind of 4th and a half from the 5-yard line, whatever it is, right? Like, you got to convert that from that standpoint. If they convert that, they go on to score. So there's a touchdown. And then the Brandon Ennis punt return, right? Defense goes out there, gets right off the field, and Brandon Ennis, returns it. If he holds on to the football, they're at the 25-yard line going in from that standpoint. So, they could have easily broken the game open from there. But Julian Sayin, even after that adversity early on in the game, when it's that loud out there, was able to hold things together, go into halftime, say, okay, listen, we get the ball to start the second half. Let's go down and score. They methodically drove the ball down the field, made the plays when they had to. And that's Julian Sayin leading this team. That's Julian Sayin making those throws when he has to make them. And, man, the way that he was able to come out in the second half, you could tell they were like, hey, listen, we got to open up this offense a little bit. And that's exactly what they did. And Julian Sayin, he's so good when they let him throw the football and sit back there and make some reads, and then you're able to build the run off of that. That was the game plan in the second half. And Julian Sayin was a stud from start to finish in that game.
Zach, you mentioned early on with, maybe that first half and the play calling and game plan, how it didn't quite connect. And I think it was hard. There were some Ohio State coaches kind of lingering around as they left on Saturday. And it was like, well, we saw a bunch of different looks from Washington, what they expected, especially given their previous experience against Ryan Walters. And they didn't have a ton of possessions to be able to make like in-game adjustments until halftime because of not finishing that one drive in the red zone, but then the fumble really cost them. And Washington was able to really sit on the football for a long time. It's like, you look at 3 possessions in the half, that's not a ton of time. You've been through this. That had to have been frustrating for them because they just didn't have an opportunity to really figure out what Washington was doing and then go onto the field and let these guys work through it.
Well, that's why I brought up that it is frustrating. And that's why I said, Julian Sayin was composed throughout this entire time. Because to your point, the 3 possessions through the first half, the barely having the football, and then you're sitting there at halftime, you're like, oh man, it's 7-3. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we're in a dogfight in this thing. And then you come out in the second half, you're like, hey, listen, we're going to take this ball down the field and score. And then you started to see Washington get a little bit, antsy, like, hey, we need to start making some plays. And you saw Ohio State really take over from that standpoint. But you're spot on. I mean, when you're Ryan Day and you're this offensive coaching staff, you probably want 6 possessions per half, right? And that's probably at a minimum from that standpoint. That's probably what you're striving to do. So when you cut that in half and you're only getting 3, that's tough. Right, especially on the road, it's noisy. There were some penalties that kind of bit him, and I think Ryan Day talked about that after the game that they need to be better at. But in order to stay composed and come out the way they did in the second half and then finish the game off, people are going to say it's not pretty. But going into Washington and putting up 24 points and winning 24-6 and doing exactly what you need to do, that's a hell of a win. And I can guarantee you that Washington team is going to be ranked by the end of the year. And everyone's going to look back at that game and be like, man, that was a much better win than people think.
Yeah, Washington, I think, is going to beat a lot of teams, and they always do when they're at Husky Stadium. As you mentioned right off the top, 22-game home winning streak for the Huskies. It is no joke to come out here and get a win. It's body clock. It's 5-hour flight. It's an extra day that Ohio State was out here. That was unusual. So to get through all that with any kind of win is important. But then I don't think that gives enough credit to Ohio State winning it in the fashion that they did by 18 points. That's really significant. And I do think that this is a very good Washington team. And it turns out that Bo Jackson is still a really good running back. We had some questions for the last several Mondays in a row, Zach. Like, we could see the rise coming for Bo Jackson. And Ryan Day was talking about it. It's like, we see all the things that you see. There's also some stuff that he's got to get better in practice. It seems like he must be doing all of that because he got 17 carries, almost twice as many as anybody else in the Ohio State backfield. Now, C.J. Donaldson was still really important, had those 2 touchdowns, one rushing and 1 receiving. But if you had told me last Monday, Bo Jackson is going to get more touches than anybody else out of the backfield, I would have been like mildly surprised by that, just based on what we've been hearing.
Yeah, you're starting to see him come on, and we've talked about it the last couple Mondays, and I've said it time and time again. When you're a true freshman, it's all about confidence. All these guys are skilled, right? When you get the opportunity and you start building some confidence, that's the biggest thing when you get to college football. And you saw him run confident on Saturday. It's a lot different playing on the road at Washington against a team like that in an atmosphere like that compared to playing OU Saturday night in the Horseshoe, right? It's completely different, but you saw Bo Jackson translate that same performance that he put against OU to Washington on the road, and you saw the offense really start building off of that. In the first half, right, it was kind of a mixed bag, but again, it goes back to possessions. But in the second half, you saw him kind of be that bell cow, and he took off and had some massive, massive runs when they needed it. That third down and whatever it was, 16 or 17, when he went for 16 yards and literally made it 4th and 1, and then Ohio State scored off of that to really put the game away. Like, that is a big time run. And if you saw that, he literally shows to the inside, right, pushes the gap, and then cuts it right outside. If he doesn't do that, he probably doesn't get there because he held the linebacker on the inside just for that split second to then be able to get blocked to then, cut out to the outside and make that gain. And like little things like that in high school football, running backs are like, hey, I can beat everyone with speed, right? I don't need to press one gap to be able to cut out to another. But when you do that in college, all those guys are fast. You're holding those guys in position just a split second for someone to get their helmet on them. And that's exactly what happened. I think that's some of the things that probably Ohio State, Ryan Day, all of them are talking about because he needs to learn how to play in college. But you're starting to see that, right? That confidence is going to be huge from what he did against Washington. It's only going to get better and better as the year goes on. I think you saw the dynamic playmaking ability of Bo Jackson and what he's able to bring to this offense, because not only can he run in between the tackles, but he's got the speed and the athletic ability to get out on the edge. He's able to play in the pass game, right? Get his hands on the ball. Like, those are all huge things, especially in an Ohio State Ryan Day offense.
So, Zach, if you were Ryan Day or the Ohio State coaching staff, you get on that flight home, you leave Seattle on Saturday night, you fire up that iPad, you're looking at the film right away. What is it that you think will have Ohio State's attention most this week coming out of that game?
If I were the coach, my one thing would be I have to stop relying and I can't believe I'm saying this, especially with it being me and how much I love power offense, right? You got to say, hey, listen, I know we have a super talented tight end group, but we have to get out of the monotony of playing so much jumbo packages and trying to spread the ball out more, right? Like, you got Carnell Tate, Brandon Innes, Jeremiah Smith, right? Like Mylan Graham, you saw play some, and now you've got Bo Jackson, who's able to get you some lateral athletic running schemes. The only thing I would say is we got to trust Julian more to spread the ball out and not get so into the jumbo 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets. And I'll be the first to admit it. I love that style of offense, right? That's when a guy like me was in the game. But the weapons that we have in how successful Julian Sayin can be when this offense is spread out, that's what you have to go to. You saw them go more to that in the second half, right? Hey, listen, let's go to 3 wide. Let's go to 4 wide. Let's spread this thing out and then build a run off of that. And that's the only thing I would say. Like, this offensive line, fantastic, man. Like, I thought they played really well. They held up great with the Washington front. You saw them obviously create some holes in the run game. That would be my only thing, is I think sometimes they go the conservative route and just, hey, we got a super talented tight end group. Let's build the run to then go off the play action, get Max Clare involved, Will Kazmarek involved, right? You saw Nate Roberts play a lot in those jumbo packages on Saturday, and I think he's a hell of a player. But you got to set up success with what your quarterback does best. And and that's spreading the ball out. So that would be my only thing. And I don't say you completely get away with it. I just think Ohio State's go-to right now is always to go into those jumbo sets on the offense side of the ball. It kind of needs to be reversed from that standpoint, right? Our go-to should be spreading them out, and then our change-up is, guess what? We're going to go jumbo and come right at you.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. We'll see if they do that. Buckeyes are back home Saturday night in prime time for homecoming against Minnesota. Pretty
Prime
funny
time,
that's
man. This is unbelievable. Prime time, but then Penn State will be noon kickoff.
Yes, and it's also amusing because Ohio State actually wanted the Minnesota game to be at noon for homecoming purposes, and then still didn't get its way. But whatever, it's another night game in Horseshoe. Before we get to that one on Saturday, though, Zach's got to put a bow on it with a 3-and-out for that 24-6 win over Washington.
Yeah. I mean, my third star is going to be Julian Sayin. We've talked about it a lot. How efficient he is, how controlled he is, how reliable he is when they need to make a play. Unbelievable, man. The dude's a stud. He makes the throws and he is spot on, man. Like the only time he's really off target is when, I got to toss the ball out of bounds, right? Because I'm getting chased and the throw's not there. So kudos to him. Second star, I'm gonna go Arvell Reese. He was around the football all day. He was a spy on Demon Williams all game long. He made some open field tackles early on that game that, as a linebacker, I could never imagine making that play. My jockstrap probably would have been in the middle of the field. So what he's able to do from that standpoint, man, he is freaky athletic, hell of a good player. And then number one is Kaden, man. Like, I'll start with Kaden McDonald. What he brings to that nose tackle position. There's been a lot of great ones, Ty Hamilton was really good. Devon Hamilton was really good. Like, we've seen some guys over the past couple of years, but no offense, I don't think we've seen one as dominant like this since like Jonathan Hankins, right? Like Big Hank back in the day could be dominant and take over games. I think that's the last guy we've seen that can really dominate the middle of literally an offensive line. And whether it be double team, whether it be one-on-one, like, I don't know why Washington tried manning up their center with Kaden McDonald multiple times, and he just got absolutely destroyed. So Kaden McDonald, man, he's a dude. He's one of the main reasons why that red zone defense is as good as they are, because he freaking buckles in and he's a load, man. And he's tenacious, plays with fire, gets after you. Like, I love the demeanor of him, love the fire from him. And then the other guy, man, Kaden Curry, just stud. Absolute stud. He set a record for 5 tackles for losses, I think, or tied record in a game. 11 tackles, 3 sacks. He was all over the field. When a play needed to be made, 92 was there. 92 was right there around the ball at all times, making the big plays. I've been the biggest fan of this guy for the longest time. I think it goes back to like the Bo Jackson thing. The confidence is only going to get better and better. He is going to start putting things together. You're going to start seeing more moves in his arsenal. He's twitchy, plays so freaking hard. And so I love Kaden Curry, man, but hats off to him for playing. And I'm going to go one more, Austin. I'm just going to give one more. This is going to be a bonus. The Sailgate scene looked absolutely phenomenal. I was jealous. I was following it on social media as the day was going on. I obviously wasn't there. I saw tons of Buckeyes on boats out there. Who knows? I don't know the Washington people, whatever, but it looked alive out there, and I loved it. So much so, like, I'm almost tempted, like, we should do a sailgate in the Olentangy before games, like we can bring up pontoons, pontoon boats, whatever we can get in there, and we just freaking start the party on the Olentangy or something. Like, how sweet would that be?
Well, if anybody can make it happen, I know that it is the Boren Brothers tailgate. That is the one you guys can set the scene out there, which I know you will be on Saturday as the Buckeyes get back to the Horseshoe to play Minnesota. Looking forward to getting home to Columbus. We'll be back in Roosters for the show later on Monday. I'm sure because Berm is also, I think it's competition between you two and the Kaden Curry fan club for who the actual president is. So I know Berm will be talking more about that with an epic performance from Kaden Curry. Buckeyes are undefeated. They're already home. I'll be home shortly. And a full week of coverage right here on the Austin and Berm Show. We get ready for this next weekend game, Ohio State, Minnesota, homecoming Saturday night. Thanks, as always, to my guy, Zach Boren, for the breakdown on a Boren Blitz to start this week. For Zach, I'm Austin. We'll talk to you later.